How did I get interested in fish in my career path? So I grew up in an urban environment in the South, in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, and I had always wanted to be engaged in the aquatic sciences. I grew up watching things like Jacques Cousteau and uh, Wild Kingdom on Sunday nights with the family. So there was always that kind of natural resource aspect to just figuring out what it was I wanted to do outside, being around streams, creeks, lakes, those kind of things. But living in the urban environment, those opportunities tended to be very limited. When I was able to go to college, my program did not necessarily have an aquatic sciences program. And I started looking at different opportunities to just expand my ability to be in contact with aquatic ecology, with aquatic science. I was able to go on an internship. And my very first internship while I was in college was to Duke University over the summer. And I went to the Duke University Marine Lab, where I spent the whole summer working on a number of different things, as well as taking classes, learning about aquatic ecology and marine sciences. And I figured that this was going to be the career path for me. So my education took me from my undergraduate institution in Mississippi, Jackson State University. I went to the College of William and Mary's Virginia Institute of Marine Sciences in Gloucester Point, Virginia, where I worked on a number of different projects. And I also had an opportunity to really try to feel out the types of things that I wanted to do. So when I did arrive for my first year of graduate school, I was able to work with the faculty, and I started working with the Comprehensive Coastal Inventory Group, where we had a chance to integrate a lot of the field studies with computerized mapping or computerized spatial analysis, primarily using the tools of remote sensing and geographic information systems, or GIS. And so after leaving William and Mary, I had an opportunity to teach for a while. I returned close to home. I went down to New Orleans and I taught at the Southern University at New Orleans. I also had an opportunity to go to work for NASA for a couple of years as well too, at the Johnson Stennis Space Center in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, where we did a lot of the natural resource inventory work. At that point, I began looking for PhD opportunities. I knew I wanted to continue my education. There's a program within the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife at Michigan State known as limnology. Limnology is basically the study of aquatic sciences dealing with freshwater, whereas marine science, I think a lot of people are very familiar with. We know that it deals with coastal oceans, wetlands, lakes, those things, bodies of salt water. Limnology tends to be the freshwater aspect of that. And so from working in limnology at Michigan State University, I then took the position here at North Carolina State University within the Department of Forestry and Environmental Resources, teaching courses in primarily spatial analysis, remote sensing, and GIS. And I have been here ever since. I am a professor at North Carolina State University in the Department of Forestry and Environmental Resources. And I'm also serving currently as the Interim Associate Dean for Diversity and Inclusion within the College of Natural Resources. So the focus of my work actually varies quite a bit. My first love has always been the aquatic ecology, has always been fishery sciences, but I integrate that a lot with computerized mappings. And then even the work that I do now here at North Carolina State University, where we look at how land use changes, land cover changes over time. And so while we recognize human beings have the greatest ability to alter the landscape, natural situations do as well too. So these changes have impact on not only terrestrial systems, which are our land systems, but also our aquatic systems. And to do this, we primarily use the tools of geographic information systems, which is a very powerful computer mapping software, which allows us to integrate both data, statistics, math, geometry, as well as understand trends and patterns in a visual aspect. But then we also use remote sensing. Remote sensing is basically where we capture images of the landscape from satellites flying about 400 to 500 miles above the surface of the earth. So what helped me get to where I am today? I would really have to say that I've had a number of people that believed in me, that basically told me you can do it. You know, growing up in Mississippi, not having or knowing anyone in the aquatic sciences field, or even wildlife fields for that matter as well. I mean, you know, in my community, I grew up in a very urban community. Even the university that I went to for my undergraduate degree, you know, at that time tended to be very traditional focused when it came to sciences. You know, we had role models in medicine, we had role models in business, we had role models in law. You know, those are the predominant fields for a lot of African Americans at the time, and this was an African American institution. So the university did not really have the resources to be very diversified when it came to different majors or different paths of study. So traditionally, if you were a biology major, you were a pre-med major. That was your major. So in order to really expand or to look at different opportunities, you know, I really had to try to look outside of the institution. You know, I mentioned before that I went on multiple internships. I think after my freshman year, I went on an internship every single summer. So every single summer I was gone. You know, I was at Duke University. I spent several weeks at sea on the Oregon 2, which is a NOAA vessel, a NOAA research vessel, ocean-going vessel. We were out in the Gulf of Mexico for, you know, several weeks. And, you know, actually it was at that point I realized I did not want to be an ocean-going scientist. You know, after getting sick quite a bit and throwing up over the side of the boat, I just decided that I loved water and I wanted to be involved in aquatic ecology or the aquatic sciences, but I didn't necessarily need to spend months at sea to do it. So I wanted access to land, which, you know, behind all of this, I had just great mentors and role models that, you know, saw something in me to say, hey, look, you can do this. You can do it, you know. And we had to look at opportunities that were beyond my traditional program of study. And I think that that's something that's important to do. Other opportunities, look at internships, look at ways that you can gain different experiences outside of your normal classrooms or outside of your normal programs of study. And the people that can help you are going to be, you know, the professors, the people that you come into contact with, because they know of different opportunities. And I was lucky enough that I had people that could support me, that could write great letters of recommendation, that could also be a source of contact once I got into these internships and start having questions or even start having doubts if this was the right place for me.